So as advertised, here she is, Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in Heels, and we're here to talk about date night. And Frank, you're still here.
I'm here.
Frank, okay.
Only in spirit.
Frank doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk.
I can't wait to hear you talk about dates, Frank.
It's not happening. So I'm writing and I'm listening.
So Kathy, what got
not happening.
What got us started thinking about this?
So what got us started is my husband and I are notorious boring date night people. Now we do have established that we go on one date a month. That has always been our thing before kids, even with 5 kids. Even when I was nursing, we would just take the baby with us. It still is a date when you have one infant with you instead of 5 kids. But we, it is, trust me.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, it does, trust me. But we are notorious for doing dinner and a movie and only making it to the movie like 50% of the time because we're old and have 5 kids. And so by the time we're done with dinner, we're like, oh, we can't make it the 2 more hours to the movie. So yeah, so I know, wah wah. So we're pretty boring. And last year we decided to try and up our game and be a little bit better about taking dates. And part of that is we're able to, because our oldest could stay home with the kids for a couple hours. And, our neighbor's old enough to babysit and she's fabulous and comes over at a moment's notice. So we started to come up with more adventurous ideas besides the movie and dinner thing.
Well, and there are a couple of aspects. Don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, you're fine.
Actually, I do.
You do. It's
but,
okay.
Besides escaping from the children, there are a number of reasons why it's a good idea to have date night.
Should we get into that?
Sure.
So according to foryourmarriage.org, date night is an opportunity to communicate, which helps couples deepen their understanding of one another and their relationship. They're valuable for the novelty. Couples who engage in novel activities that are fun, from hiking to dancing, enjoy higher levels of relationship quality. And date nights strengthen or rekindle that romantic spark. I just winked. You guys didn't see that, but I did. That can be helpful in sustaining the fires of love over the long haul.
There you go. Did you get that, Frank?
That
the
was
fires
of
love.
That was a super fun quote. And then it says partners who put one another first cultivate a strong sense of we-ness, and date nights are a way to relieve stress. So good, positive, healthy. That being said,
and you can get away from the kids.
Frankie needs a little charcoal lighter fluid poured on the coals.
The
fires of love.
Hey, I brought him hot coffee this morning to, help kindle and warm him up. So 30% of parents haven't been on a date in more than 6 months, which that just breaks my heart. I feel like that is so sad, but I know it's true.
Age range parents of
anything. Yep,
parents
anything. Anything.
Or anybody.
As soon as, anything, anyone. Which I have friends that honestly, from the time that they had a kid on, I have friends that haven't been on a date in 18 months. 20 months, 2 years. There was on the website, when I asked on prairiewifeandheels.com on our Facebook page, one woman said that she goes on one date a year with her husband, and it's his annual fireman's ball. That's
one date a year?
One date a year.
See, now we don't have anything specific, but we do try to go out. It's not like we've made a pledge to go once a month or twice a month or something like that, but we are cognizant of the fact that we need to get the heck out. And we had a date night last night. We looked for the opportunity. So we had tickets to Finding Neverland at the Casper Event Center. So that was our date night, was to go out to Finding Neverland.
Yeah.
Now, talk about old and tired. It starts at 7, and by 7:45, I'm like, hey, I gotta get up at 4.
Hang in there. You need your energy shot in your purse.
But it's an important thing, to maintain that. Whether or not you're a married couple or a longtime couple.
Yes.
Or even you're just starting and trying to sustain a relationship, I would think.
So I have been married for almost 15 years, and I've been with my husband for almost 18. I know I'm doing that math. Almost 18 years. And so I looked a little bit about just dating when you're not married, because there's a lot of listeners that we have that aren't married. And according to elitedaily.com, if you are dating 1 month to 1 year, you need to, I'm laughing because I don't think this is realistic. You need to set aside time for a regular date night once a week.
Okay.
You should see the look.
I
on
just
Kathy's
like
face.
I think that's when you have been dating someone for 1 month to see each other. I don't know. I guess maybe
You think that's too much or too little?
I guess it depends on date night. I feel like going out to dinner, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird because my husband worked road construction from the moment we dated on, so I wouldn't see him for 6 weeks.
Wow.
You know, because he'd be out building guardrail all across the state and not have a single day off. And then he would come to town and be with his buddies for one night. We would go out, and then I don't know.
Oh, see, now I remember way back in the day, when
Maybe that's not
relationships were
that
fresh and
much.
new, that you just looked for every possible opportunity to get out.
Touche. As I'm
know?
giggling, maybe that it. Frank, what do you think when you've been dating someone
You
for
don't
Frank doesn't
understand.
date.
I have nothing to add in this whole thing.
just
Seriously, he's been
just
like
your
this all
sweet
morning.
optimistic voice right there.
Zero.
That just
I'm-
brings.
I'm-
Roger, what about you? Fine, Frank. Be a spoil sport.
Hmm.
Roger, what about you?
Which pretty much is his dating story. Yeah.
Yes.
A spoil sport. Well, I'm gonna confess something on the air. We had a whirlwind courtship.
Mm-hmm.
We maybe it was kismet, but we had our first date. We'd had a couple of lunches. We worked at the same TV station.
Mm-hmm.
Had our first date on June 6th, D-Day. I don't know if that portended something.
Dun, 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 dun.
And we were married by the end of July.
Okay, but then what about your honeymoon stage and everything like that? Like, did you guys date, or was there not the finances to do that? Or
Oh no! Well, we had a nice honeymoon. Went down to Mexico, down to Puerto Vallarta, and then just started. We didn't. Our early marriage was the time we really got to know each other because it was such a whirlwind courtship. I don't recommend it, even though it has worked for 36 years, but I don't recommend it. And we were late in life parents. For
so you had
nu-
a lot of time together.
For any number of reasons. I mean, it was 15 years into the marriage before Mary came along.
Yep.
So it's all been reversed for us.
Well, and
So then the parenthood and the boat anchor that a child becomes,
I
that
love
kind of
your
came.
phraseology. The
That-
boat anchor.
Well,
I'm
really,
It is true. No, we call them life suckers.
You might as well. You might as well just. Hey, you guys want to go out? We got tickets to the Super Bowl. You want to go have dinner? And you throw out an anchor.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
We have a baby.
Well, and let's talk the financial part too of having kids. Do you know how much a babysitter costs for 5 kids?
Oh,
I mean,
well,
and then
yeah.
you add dinner and a movie or something like that, which the second half of the show, we're going to be throwing out some date ideas. So don't think that we're just, blah blahing and statisticking. We've got some help, some tools for you that we'll be hitting up on the second half of the show. So something that I thought was interesting is that according to that elitedaily.com, when you've been together for 2 or 4 years, they didn't say marriage, this is just dating, they recommend twice a year of special romantic events alongside that monthly date night. So that means you got your regular dates around town, work functions, but that twice a year you should do something above and beyond.
Special romantic events.
So so Serenity said, we hardly ever have date night. We grab time when we can. She said, we do go out to dinner, and that's when we dress up a bit. And I thought that was a really good point because for me, that's part of the date night thing is getting dressed up for my husband. There's certain outfits I know he likes and certain ways I do my hair, and I do it just for him as opposed to he normally just sees me in sweatpants and nasty hoodies from college.
We have a tendency, though, because a lot of the things that they're not necessarily dates, but they're events and functions that we are required to go to for one reason or another, either through the station or because of the plays up at the college. And then we dress up and we have to go to that. But it's not really a date because it's something that you are expected
You
to
just
do.
said
and you
have to.
do.
I was
Right.
listening to your
Have
phrase.
to. So sometimes for us, the reverse is true. It might be a date
Good
for us
point.
to,
Yeah.
put on the jeans
Yep.
and an old sweatshirt and go bowling or something, something that's not quite so,
But yeah, by and large, though, this is a casual town.
Amen.
Yes.
There aren't a lot of that was Karen's got this rack of dresses that she refuses to get rid of. That are, she says, that's my Houston collection.
Karen, I hear you, girl.
Yeah, and it's I don't wear them anymore. She doesn't have any place to wear them anymore. The company Christmas party's coming up. you'll break out one of them then.
Yep.
But
Karen, I'm going to be dressing up. I'm wearing a cocktail dress
me
because
too.
like
Oh, she
you,
will
there's
be
never
too,
there's never an opportunity, right?
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I'm kind of digging this whole being back in the workforce thing. We got to go to Dancing with the Stars and cheer lovely Miss Susan on and my friend Sloan, and I dolled up. I was wearing
You
the 6
sure
inch
did, by golly.
I was wearing the 6-inch
You should have
heels and
seen
the
that
sparkly
girl.
gold dress because gosh darn it, I love that. And you're
Yeah.
right. And in Wyoming, there's not many opportunities. But that being said, when I have those date nights with Dan, I do dress up. I'm wearing the heels, I'm wearing the pencil skirt and the cute little top because I'm dressing up for him and I don't care if what anyone else thinks.
That's so
You know what I mean?
sweet.
And it's well, I'm sure that'll
She's
get old
so
soon,
sweet.
but there's something to be said too, I think, for the effort that goes into that date night.
Yes.
We might be having our once a month date nights on the 30th and 31st every
Yeah,
single
well.
month because we got to squeeze it in, but we're both putting effort in for that. And I think that was the whole point behind the foryourmarriage.org, why date night is so important because you're putting effort in, you're putting for each other, you're
For a
prioritizing.
person, yes.
Yes. And I think that that's something that we get lost. The marriage gets lost in the shuffle with kids. And I talked about this on K2 TV, I think last week, because we were talking about a super fun date, which I'll get to that my husband and I did. But I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It
Okay. So,
derailed.
so kids, and I'm like using my hands, but kids are in your marriage for like, let's say 20, 25 years. Now we have 5 kids, so we're going to have kids there for a while. But if you're planning on being married for 60 years, that is 40 years that you're going to be with your spouse without kids there. So you really have to take care of that marriage even when the kids are there. I think it's important.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, we had a rule when we were having babies that every 2 years we went away somewhere without the kids. Somewhere like Hawaii, Costa Rica. We went to Nice, France. We go somewhere, Florida. We go somewhere without the kids. And it's so important.
I'm writing that one down.
Yeah,
Go somewhere
every
without
2
kids.
years because especially we had a baby every 2 years. So I had like 3 months where something wasn't living off of me or in me. And so there's a point to this, though. So we went on those vacations, and it wasn't so much as being away from the kids. But let's face it, if you have just 2.5 hours for a date night, you're talking about the kids the whole time. If you're away for 3 days, 5 days, you cannot talk about your children the whole time. And you really start to branch out. Plus, all the memories you make gives you something to talk about for the next year and bond over. So here's the deal, though. We stopped having kids. Guess what? We haven't gone anywhere in more than 2 years. Because we had that like 3-month deadline where we're like, okay, we have to go away now. And then all of a sudden I was looking at him a couple months ago and I was like, we haven't gone anywhere. We have not gone anywhere. And so we sat down and we planned a trip and we're actually going to go to London next year.
Ah. You'll
But
like London. Nice.
Well, I cannot
Wonderful
wait.
town.
I
go
can't
to
wait.
London too.
I am
Wonderful
sorry
town.
to say no, but I'm not really sorry.
Maybe the
Count
most
Susan.
civilized
We
city
went
you'll
to
ever
Walmart.
go
Does that count?
to.
But like, do you know what I mean? And then you have the planning of that trip, the months of looking forward to it, really important. And also, my parents are like, yeah, go. Dan's mom is like, go, because it's way more fun to be with the kids without you. And asking someone every 2 years to come watch your kids for 4 days and giving them 6 months notice, totally doable.
Oh yeah.
Totally doable. So
Well,
I'm
but
throwing
again-
that out there.
But again, in our case, a lot of that traveling got done in the first part of the marriage.
Yes, and we didn't have
We
that.
haven't done nearly as much since
Maybe
the
you
daughter
should.
came along.
Maybe
Now
you
that may
should.
pick up again, but I thought to myself, which would I rather do? And I thought, well, we did it when we were young, so
Yeah.
maybe there's something to be said for that as well.
I agree.
See, and I'm just sitting here thinking we just need to get over it and do it.
Yes.
Because
There
I've
you
got
are.
a million
Yes.
and one excuses why not. I mean,
Uh-huh.
our kids are
There's
older.
always going to be
Oh,
something. Though.
College,
So you need to do
you
it.
know, I
Yep.
got things I need to
Should-
stash that money for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should
Yep.
be self-sustaining. Now, that's an entirely different show, but
Yeah.
you know,
We've never regretted it,
But
and
we-
things have been tight for us. I mean, we have 5 kids and a single, but we save. I mean, we've been saving for this London trip now for months,
Mhm.
and we still have months more to do it. And there's something to be said for that too, being willing to make little sacrifices for that trip. You know what does that make sense?
sort
There-
of mutual sacrifices instead of, hey,
Yeah.
honey, are you free for lunch? You would just say,
Exactly. Yeah.
take
No,
that
we're
money
saving
that-
for this, or oh, I don't really need
my
that.
cowboy draw ticket
You
money.
yeah. Remember the little people if you win.
so-
So anyway, the date night, it's so much more than just being away for 2 hours, what it says about your marriage, about your relationship, and putting that time and commitment. And I just really think that going away, even if it's a weekend in Denver, so important.
Yeah.
So important for a marriage. I'm trying. I can't. The clock
Honey,
is behind me. I don't know if we're
no, you're
supposed to
fine.
take a break now or where
Honey,
we're at.
honey, are you listening?
Yeah.
Are you listening? Gotta get away. You know what? We will. We'll take a quick break, and then we've got some ideas of date
Discussion
nights.
topics. And Frank, if you're still listening, you do need to come on for this part
Why?
because you don't have a choice, and it's going to be funny.
So there you go.
Oh boy.
Kathy has spoken. Okay. It is 9:33 at K2 Radio. We'll be right back. Alrighty, it's 9:36 at K2 Radio. We're all the way up to 21 balmy degrees in downtown Casper. Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife and Heels. And we are discussing date nights.
Yes, so we went over why it's important. We threw some statistics out there, but let's talk about some ideas for date night, right?
The perfect date. From Miss Congeniality.
Which also, is April. What is the
25th.
perfect date?
My idea of perfect date is April 25th because it's not
too
too
hot,
hot and
it's
it's
not
not
too
too
cold.
cold. and
All you need is a light jacket. Yeah, all the guy listeners are like, what is that? That's from Miss Congeniality. Okay, so some, well, we're enjoying the show. We don't care about anyone else.
We made
So,
Roger groan. Yay.
I actually, Frank, have from a listener that came during the break a comment that we need to do a K2 Radio Bachelor edition for Frank.
No, we do not.
Frank.
Oh, I
We should
love
have an
that.
auction and raise some
Yeah.
money. We can
That's
auction Frank
new.
off.
Oh, I love that listener idea. We have the best
Fun.
listeners ever.
Listen, I can humiliate myself just fine.
No,
I don't need anyone else's help.
Frank, you're I don't want to say you're my favorite with everyone listening, but you're my favorite. Don't say that.
My
You are
favorite what?
a charming, wonderful
Favorite what?
man. Okay, date ideas. Get out your notebook and pens. And side note to guys, husbands, boyfriends, partners, it's not just up to the woman to plan the date. You know how to call the babysitter and book it too. I'm just throwing that out there because that can be frustrating if it's always the female that's like, we should do a date night, and then you have to set up a babysitter and have the babysitter come an hour early so your wife can get ready without the kids hanging on her leg and she can enjoy that part of the process. Okay.
Okay.
Tips and tricks for
Got that, guys?
Yeah, write that down. You guys can watch this later. The podcast will be up. You can share it. Women, you can share it and tag your husbands on it. All right, so redbookmagazine.com put up a list of 108 date ideas. And we're not going to bore you with all 108, but I picked some that are quote unquote my favorite. So I thought I would throw these date ideas out and then we can
Do I
discuss.
get to ridicule some as
Yeah,
we go?
oh yeah,
Okay,
we
okay.
can discuss Roger, Frank, Susan. I want to hear what you think of these. So right off the bat, one of their date ideas is to redo a room of your house together.
And to that I say, eh. The biggest fights my husband and I have ever had to do with redoing rooms and renovations. That's probably the only thing that we ever really fight about.
yeah,
And, and it's the silliest thing. We got into this stramash about wall borders
word
one
choice.
time. That was
Yeah.
like,
and Roger, you're redoing your whole house. So what do you think about that? Has
we're
that been
building
a
a house.
great, positive marriage experience? Has that helped rekindle your love fire?
No. We've
Sorry.
done it. We've done it before, and we knew it was coming, but you still have the same
So
argument.
you're gonna
Rekindle
say
the
say
fires of
redoing a
love.
room
'Cause
would
I'm-
not be one of your great date
No,
night
no,
ideas.
no. I'm
Frank,
I'm looking at the budget, and
Yeah.
she's looking at, but I need this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Karen's always right. Frank, would redoing a room, repainting, renovating your home, would that be a great date night idea for you?
I live in my garage, so
Okay.
I mean, I don't know very much about that stuff. The answer, I guess, would be if there's fireball involved, yes.
Oh, yeah, because that's gonna be some
It's-
really that
with Frank, it's always
that drywall's
fireball.
really gonna get hung straight if there's
Yeah,
fireball
right.
involved. Okay,
But
so
the paint will look good.
yeah, that's right. So here's another one: get ice cream. My husband and I do that all the time. That's actually like one of our go-to things is to hop in the car and go into town to Cold Stone or Sonic and get ice cream.
That's not really a date night, though. That's
It
just a
is for
little
us
escape.
because
You
have
mean like go to an ice cream place?
Yes.
Not just go
yes,
buy a
and you got to figure for us too. It's a
tub
half
of
hour. No,
Bluebell, huh?
No, for us it's like a half-hour drive. So you get the half-hour
okay.
talking
That's
time. You
true.
go and you have the ice cream. You don't have anyone going, "Can I have a
You
bite?"
go to Farson and get ice cream, right, Frank?
Now that
Yeah.
would be fun.
Now you're talking. Huh?
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put a little note. Farson is the place to go. Okay, so this is one that made me giggle. But Susan and Roger, I'm interested to hear your
Uh-huh.
thoughts. Have a sing-along.
Oh my.
have a little sing-along for your date. This is not karaoke. This is not go to the bar and have a redbookmag.com recommends sitting in your house and having a little sing-along. What do you guys think? No? Frank?
Sing along?
Yeah.
Negative.
Kumbaya? No?
Even
Pretty
with
much sing in the
Fireball.
car.
Even with
you know.
Fireball.
Yeah, no.
No.
Even with
Come on, there's
Fireball.
better
We could
things
do
to do with
mystery
your day.
science theater.
Oh, my
with
side theater,
watching,
yeah.
watching old movies and just commenting along. But
Yeah,
a
okay.
sing along, no,
So,
not so
nope,
much.
no for
No
that.
Frozen
Yeah.
sing along.
Okay,
No.
there is pub trivia. I have lots of friends that love that. Is it the Frontier that's downtown? There's a couple places downtown that do
We
the pub
actually
trivia.
Joined a friend of ours.
Yeah? Was it
Invited
fun?
us to join his team for an evening. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah?
It was fun.
I saw there was a Harry Potter one, and I really wanted to do it, but my husband's not a nerd, so he wasn't game. Which actually, that brings me to
I'm a nerd. I'll play with you.
Good. Okay, we'll have to do that.
Date night, Kathy.
So pub trivia would be a good one. Speaking of, by the way, one thing that a lot of these sites said is go outside your comfort zone. A lot of times you're thinking about just you and what you want to do, but sometimes doing something the other person wants to do. Like, for example, my husband loves to go shooting. And so when I go and we have our date and we're target shooting, I'm always like, wah, wah, but then it ends up being really fun. So that's something to think about too, is get outside of your comfort zone and do something just for the other person that they would normally like to do without you and just join along. Oh, here's one. Cook together. Cooking together, Roger? Good date, bad date?
I can help. You know, it's like, would you hold this pan and let me scoop this stuff in here? You know, hold this thing up. I'm willing to do that, and I'll stand around and you know, keep her occupied with conversation, but I can't cook. So I'll let her.
So you would just stand there and look pretty?
That's it. I'll let her do that.
Refill the wine.
And exactly.
there you
There you are. Keep
See,
the wine
now
glass full.
That would work for us if we were doing a meal and we each had our own tasks. So, you know, my task, like for big feast, the Thanksgiving feast.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
I do the potatoes and I do, you know, the pies and I do this and he does the deviled eggs and the
Yeah,
turkey
sure.
and whatever. But to try to help each other cook, that probably wouldn't work out so much. And we have, you know, our kitchen's kind of small. We renovated it. It's no longer a one-butt kitchen. It's a two-butt kitchen, but still.
But still better than a
you know,
one-butt. Yeah, I
right,
hear what you're saying. So my husband and I actually did something. It came as an opportunity for the blog, but it's called thechefandthedish.com. And what we did is we had an Italian chef, Paola, call in and Skype and give us a 2-hour private cooking lesson. And we made bruschetta, risotto, and poached pears. And it was the most fun date that I think we have ever had.
And you did this at your house?
We did it at
What'd
our
you do
house.
with the kids?
We had one kid at the babysitter, at the neighbors, and all the other kids were in school. So we did it at lunchtime so that we didn't even have to like pay for a babysitter.
So
and
it was date day.
Yeah, so a date day. But you can do it whenever you want with that website. And you can make any kind of food. But it was so fun. And she was like, Dan, I told you not to chop the tomatoes yet. So like she was yelling at him because he was doing stuff wrong. And I realized we both love to cook, but I'm always cooking for dinner for the kids, or he's cooking. We don't cook together, or we always have the kids in there in the middle of it wanting to help. So it was really fun just to have 2 hours, and it was so entertaining and different to have an actual master chef teaching you what to do. I learned so much.
You know, and I was just thinking of this, and one of the other things that caught my eye is, you know, local tourist attractions. But, you know, to me, something that makes that, pardon me if I get a little too esoteric here, but makes that communication and that connection is discovering new things together. So you have that shared experience of having discovered that.
Exactly.
And whether it's, you know, the cooking thing or, you know, local tourist attractions, we are so terrible at going, well, we live right here near Yellowstone, but we haven't been there yet,
Ever.
you know, right? So, you know, to have that shared experience of having something new.
Yeah.
Well, and she
together.
learned how low his tolerance is for Italian insults.
Right.
Yeah.
It
You
was
know how Mussolini
Roger,
ended up,
it
buddy?
was so funny. It was so funny because he's like, you know, doing the tomato, and she's like, hey, I didn't tell you what to do with it yet, buddy. Stop what you're doing. So just things like that. I think, Susan, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's about that experience that you can then continue to talk about afterwards, talk to other people about. I don't know how many people I've told about that cooking class because it was just so fun and
you told
different.
me it.
Yeah, yet so easy. So another thing that's on here is shopping for a date.
You know, it depends on what you're shopping for. I mean, if it's shopping, like we had to go to the big box store the other day with a long list of stuff.
Yep.
You know, that's not a date.
Oh man, that's one of our.
That is not a date for me. That's like, okay, you get the syrup, and I'm going to run over here and get the coffee, and then we'll go over and get the hangers that we need, and that's not a date for me. Now, if we decide as a couple that we need, you know, for example, a new TV, you know, and we're going to go shopping for a new TV, and we're going to go around to the different places, that's more fun to me. But just shopping, no,
it is totally a date for Dan and I.
It's a chore.
And we always run into someone else when we're doing it that is also on a date at the grocery store.
We live in Wyoming.
And right. Touche. I love it though, because we're sitting there and we're chit-chatting and we're talking about the week and the meal planning, and he always grabs something I don't want, so we have like a fun play fight, and I'm like, get that out of the cart, and you know, stuff like that. And Valerie agrees with me. Valerie on the website said, what did I mean?
You're easily amused.
I am very. Maybe it's the kid thing. Maybe it's because we're just so deep in the kid thing. And I mean, our youngest is only 3. So maybe it's just anytime we can get away. Or maybe, you know, honestly, that used to be our dates when we were dating. I didn't have any money at all. I'm talking tuna fish sandwiches is what I lived off of, and Diet Pepsi. So instead of bringing me flowers, he used to bring me fresh fruit or buy me hamburger meat because I had no money. So like a big treat for us is he would take me to the Walmart grocery store in Laramie. Isn't he a sweet guy?
Oh,
he's the best.
Okay, your 2-minute warning.
Okay, so what do we want to end with?
Let's mock something.
We did the redoing a room and the sing along.
Mocked Frank. Yeah.
Well, that's just too easy.
That's every day.
Pretty much.
Frank, I do think we need to do the Bachelor thing, the K2. I don't know who we need to talk to about that.
No,
There's taking a hike. There's the street fair. There's that whole weekend away. Hit the water. We went kayaking this summer together. That was so fun. We'd never done that before. It was great. We really enjoyed that. I think maybe just there is a lot to do in Casper that we don't think about that you can do together. And we just get stuck in the dinner and the movie. So my advice would be to everyone listening, think outside the box. Guys, book the babysitter for your wife. Take a little bit of time to spruce yourself up, make it fun, get a new outfit.
Guys, take a little time to spruce yourself up.
A little bit of deodorant goes a long way, boys.
No, I just thought I'd get both sides of that. Kathy, so.
Yeah,
okay.
Or we could all join in a quest to find Frank a date.
I was just about to say
there's
that.
A project.
Ladies that are listening.
There's a project we could all get involved in.
When's the 1-minute warning?
So if you know any eligible bachelorettes, when this podcast goes up, please tag them in it. They can hear what a pleasant and cheerful person Frank truly
Okay,
is.
very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in Heels. We've done it again. We'll see you next week.